All right, everyone. Steve Metrics here of Db8 Sports with your boy.
DJ Triggs.
And together we are Db8 Sports here on Selection Sunday of the men's NCAA tournament. Got some games going on today. We got our in-state team, Wisconsin, playing a little bit into our show. And got some other good games. Let's give you a game going up in, I think that's the American Conference. But to me, a cool game going on right now. A team that I'm kind of feeling the vibes for picking. Florida is looking pretty good against Tennessee.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Florida. I haven't even put my NCAA basketball hat on in a while, and then this week I kind of jumped into some stuff because it's conference,
Yeah, me too.
tournament time.
Yeah,
and then I got sucked into the WNBA again, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on anymore.
So is the WNBA, are they playing or something? Because I saw Angel Reese got banged up or something.
No, that's the Unrivaled 3-on-3 league.
Oh, okay. So she's playing in that as well.
Yeah, she's I think she got defensive player of the year in the league, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah, the draft doesn't happen until April 14th or 15th, somewhere in there, the middle of April, and the league doesn't start till the middle of May.
Gotcha. Okay.
And obviously, Paige Beckers from UConn is going to be like the one.
Gotcha. So she's in this draft. I take it Juju Watkins is next year.
It's funny. Someone just asked me about that. Juju is 20 or is all right. So the rule I think they said is 22 or graduated status.
Oh, okay.
And Juju is going to be 20 in July. So she's got a couple years to go.
Wow, that's crazy.
Remember, she's a freshman. So
right. Well, she was a freshman last year.
Yeah. So she's a sophomore. Sorry. Yeah. She's only 19. Gotcha. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense. It's not very often that a young lady is like a phenom freshman. No offense to anyone, but there's no real one and dones in women's college basketball.
Not yet.
I mean, yeah, not yet. But I mean, we could have had maybe Caitlin Clark when she did it. I don't even think Angel Reese would have been a one and done. Maybe like a Brianna Stewart,
right?
Candace Parker, if we're gonna go back that far.
Yeah. She had some ability way back when.
Yeah, Paige Beckers maybe in this year going out, and then Juju. So I mean, yeah, there might have been some other women sprinkled here and there, but it would have been rare. So
yeah, and I think Paige absolutely would have gone pro. Seeing her play last year was she just kind of had to. But yeah, I mean, she would have pretty much already been a pro. The only thing that did her in, unfortunately, was tearing that ACL.
And I mean, even if you think about it, right? And I don't like getting into the political numbers of the game, but excuse me. Women's college basketball players make about $100,000 a year as rookies.
Yep.
And I mean, as vets, they make $200,000 to $300,000. That's why the Unrivaled League was so crazy, because they were paying people a year's worth of salary in 3 months.
Nice.
Which blows my mind that they're able to do that, but the WNBA is not. I don't really get it. Especially when they're being fueled by the NBA. So I also still don't get it.
Yeah, interesting thing I heard from Colin Cowherd on the Herd on Fox Sports is, to this day, the seasons of the WNBA have not made a profit.
Not at all. Not at all.
So, yep, they still have a ways to go. And
I don't get it, though.
Interesting thing too. I heard about a week or so ago too that there were rumblings that the WNBA players want to go on strike. This is not to do that. They don't have the leverage.
No. And like I try to tell people that all the time. So the strike thing was real because I was also brought up to my attention, and I'm like, but who's really striking? Like it's kind of like the NFL strikes or the baseball strikes. It's like who's really like striking? Because you know
Yeah.
in the NFL, the $40 million guys are not. They're like, I mean, yeah, I'm here for my buddies, but
Yeah.
I don't really care. Like I'm getting
Right.
40 mil. Like it's
Exactly.
really for the bot. I hate to
The
say it
bottom.
that way, but
It
the
is the
bottom
bottom.
of the barrel guys,
Yeah.
like, and even with uh like the WNBA, yeah, like everyone's making within that one to or what like 100,000 to like 300,000 ish. But okay, Caitlin Clark. Well, you just signed this awesome Nike deal.
She's not going
Uh,
on strike.
right. She didn't even play in the Unrivaled League. She didn't need the money. Like, let's
She
be
don't need it.
honest.
Nope.
Um, Caitlin or Angel Reese just signed the huge deal with McDonald's. I actually just looked up. She got like 15 million or something ridiculous.
Okay.
Um, she did the Super Bowl ad and got like 5 to 10 million on that for 30 seconds.
Oh wow, I didn't even
Uh,
see that commercial.
yeah. Um, she's got a shoe coming out in 2026.
Sure.
Like, just saying, like some of these ladies, like I don't know if you remember this, but this was a big deal. What was it, 15 years ago, somewhere in there? Diana Taurasi, like the GOAT, one of the GOATs, literally refused to play an entire WNBA season because her like Russian league team paid her $1 million to sit out.
Yeah, I remember hearing
Yep,
something about that. I was like, man, there's something like she has to play in Russia and
yep.
something with her not playing for Phoenix. Like it was kind of weird. So that is wild. So basically, Russia had better leverage on basketball than the WNBA did at that point in time.
I mean, they still do. I mean, not to again get political, but Brittany Griner was there for a reason.
She was.
She was there
Absolutely.
to make coin. Um,
Absolutely.
and if you can make more somewhere else during the off season, the WNBA doesn't tell you no.
Right.
Like, I mean, the NBA, they're like, hey, don't go play in Australia during the off season. Like, stay here. The
Right.
NFL, like they have rules, like don't play pickup basketball or don't snowboard or jet ski.
Right.
Like they have these weird
Yes.
rules and contracts. So the
Yeah. Like the Ben
WNBA is,
Roethlisberger motorcycle incident.
yep, the WNBA doesn't have that. And the NBA at one point didn't have that. I mean, look at Jason Williams,
Yep.
number one guard out of Duke. Now he's
Yep.
on TV
Yep.
because he got into, was his a motorcycle too?
Oh gosh, I don't remember what kind of crash he got into, but he is pretty good on TV though.
Yeah, he's a solid talking head. Not gonna lie,
Yeah. Yeah.
he understands his role.
Yeah.
And like, but he was a stud coming out of Duke, like number one overall pick,
Yep.
and gone that
Yep.
fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was pretty quick how those things can happen, but yeah, I mean it is what it is, and we'll just see how it goes. So I don't know. Like I think they're going to have better leverage on making more money in the future, but they're not at a breaking point where it's like they need this to move in a certain direction, or else they can make things happen on their end. They don't have that right now. This is like the spark to their jet fuel, and they are just beginning that exponential curve to move up.
Yeah,
But they're not at a point where like they're making leaps and bounds and they're just skyrocketing. I guess if I got to compare to anything, like I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, my Palantir stock skyrocketed into the stratosphere. That's the kind of thing when you're like, okay, cool, we go up that high. Now we have the leverage to make a negotiation, but that just didn't happen. So yeah, I would hate to see the WNBA just crush their leverage. And going, I mean, this goes back to last year too, where I I mean, you and I were both on the same side saying that she shouldn't have been in it, but looking at a money perspective, the ability to probably still win regardless, the U.S. women's Olympic team should have figured out a way to get both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese on. That would have
Yep.
made stupid amounts of money. You should have had them both, and you dropped the ball. And to be honest, kind of almost since then, it just hasn't had that same kind of steam that it had since those two played in their game in college, going into all the way up to that pre-Olympics tournament. So I don't know, like you kind of get into a point where it's like they're almost tripping on themselves. And if they were to go on strike, they would severely take a massive step backwards, I feel.
Now, I can't remember all the names off the top of my noggin right now, but
yeah,
one of the things I will say about the WNBA though is like they're starting to market the stars better.
yes, yes, they are.
And as much as people dislike, a Caitlin Clark on one side and like her on the other side, or a Angel Reese on one side and like her on the other side, like they're stars. Like
they are stars. Yes,
we had Asia Wilson, probably in this generation, the GOAT, and Breanna Stewart in New York with Sabrina Ionescu and that whole squad.
Yeah, they're all on State Farm commercials.
Right. They're all stars, but Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have become superstars. And like
yes,
their market is like exponentially bigger.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like we like Sabrina Ionescu was literally in a 3-point shootout with Steph Curry to the NBA All-Star. Most people can't even name her. Like can't even say her name. My favorite player now that Sue Bird is gone. Like I'm a huge fan of Kelsey Plum, and like she just went from being maybe the third or fourth player. No, I won't go that far. Let's say the third best player on the Vegas Aces. So now she's the number one in LA with the Sparks.
Yep.
With the big trade that happened, and it's like, ooh, like this is someone you could market because
totally.
I'm trying to think who can I compare her to.
She's got to me the style of like a Drew Holiday and a Dwayne Wade with how she plays basketball. That's how I see it.
Okay, I like that. Like, but on top of that, like, yeah, if you combine them both, because I was thinking like, I don't even know, like a Russell Westbrook almost, but she's a shooter.
Sure. Yeah, she's a shooter.
Yeah, the hustle.
The hustle is that.
She will talk like that's why she became my favorite player. Because still, she just be in somebody's ear, just like, yeah, like I'm about to lock you up, and just say it to you, and you're like, who's talking to me? Like, oh, it's you. Like
exactly.
And she's got the swag of an all-star and a champion and a gold medalist, and that's why she was the point guard on that gold medal team. Like you can trust her having the basketball in her hands. Plus, you can trust her to like dive, tackle somebody on the defensive end, and you're like, oh man, that's just good hustle. Like,
yeah, totally
solid player. And now that like you're gonna get a Paige Becker's, probably I believe the Wings have the number one pick. They already got Enrique Agumbawale, who represents Milwaukee.
Pretty good quick. Yeah, Ooh. That team could get really good quick.
And then you got a couple of players, and my head's blanking, but you got a couple of players that got moved over to Chicago, who was bottom 3 in the league, so they're going to have one of those good picks. Plus, they traded one of their picks to get better players to come in to help Angel Reese. Camila Cardosa is about to come back from that big injury. I know she came back at the end of the season, but not really hitting on all cylinders. So now you got a massive center. You got a super rebound hustler, mid-range player. Now you got some guards that they filled in around. Then look at another big market. I mean, we haven't even talked about New York, like their championship caliber. Another big market, Atlanta got Brittany Griner. And they brought in some pieces around her. Like some of these big markets that have these WNBA teams could really push these players.
Right.
in that summer, and it's gonna sound really bad, but like in the summer when
There's nothing.
baseball's kind of lulling, there's no hockey, there's no NFL, there's no NBA. Like push them to the moon.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, like the summer is basically what we're addicted to when we get the WNBA. Like we need the WNBA during that stretch because it is excellent. The NBA season, which to be honest is a disaster with how they decide to go from a certain point in the year to another point in the year. It's just a disaster with how they try to overlap with the NFL. The WNBA is in a really good spot to really capitalize on that summertime. I think it's a really cool time of year. I like it when we kind of start to hit that stride. It's pretty cool. So I really hope that they can make this work. Avoid the strike. We don't need that. Just keep pushing the ball forward.
And I know there's some people that they're waiting for like one of us to say it. So I'll be the guy. I'll be the guy, right?
Oh, I
That
don't even know
that
what it
goes,
is.
it's the summer. You have attractive lady basketball players, and I appreciate that ESPN does that. Like when there's a WNBA game, they do
Yeah.
that lady the like runway for
Oh yeah.
WNBA play. And I mean, to be honest,
Yeah, it's
Russell
pretty cool.
Westbrook started that. You know,
He
like
sure
he would
did.
come in those
The
ridiculous clothes, and
swag.
you're like, the what is he about to
It's
wear
dope.
this week?
It's dope.
Now, dude, you should if you have time. I won't say if you get bored. If you have time, like look up like the WNBA like walk ups
Yeah.
in on like ESPN. Like you can YouTube it or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, oh
Enrique
my gosh,
Mawale had some really good ones too. Yeah,
what
she
is
always
her?
looked pretty fly.
Is her name Ellie the elephant?
Oh yeah,
Oh
the
man,
mascot for the
the
Liberty?
the mascot for the Liberty is a like genius. Like
Yes.
she
Yes.
comes in all types of different like decked out. Like she has her own runway walk, and then
Wow.
like a Brianna Stewart or a Sabrina or whoever comes in after her, and you're like, who's the real star of this team? Is it Ellie?
Sure.
Because just
Exactly.
wondering. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they are taking that mascot to new heights. That is becoming like up there with like the Philly fanatic.
yeah. And so I think and you have a lot of these young ladies who are in like in college, the way they get a lot of their following and their fan base and their endorsements and their NILs is because of looks. I mean, like
Yes.
look at like a Cameron Brink. Cameron Brink can
Mhm.
hoop,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, she
What was
can.
she? Where was she? Not UCLA.
Stanford.
Stanford. Thank you. I was like, California. Where am I?
Yes.
But
Yep.
and then
Yep.
she went to the Sparks, and yeah, she got injured. But last year, I was like, man, she's gonna be that one.
Oh
She was
yeah.
leading the league in blocks and just dominating.
Yep.
But like to push someone like that, where everyone can kind of look and go, oh, okay, that's what WNBA players look like now.
Yeah.
All
High
right,
time fashion.
yeah, and like
Mhm.
and yeah, you can have, your representatives of other, you know, basis of orientations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do think that's what a lot of young people, a lot of like 20s and teens, they catch the Instagrams and the
They do.
TikToks of pretty people. That's what
They
they
do.
look at, you know?
They do.
Like wrestling does that. You know, cheerleaders do that. Everybody knows a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Like,
Yeah. Bianca Blair in wrestling. Like, I don't even know much about wrestling, but I know her.
see, that's what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
She's about the main event WrestleMania. I'm just
Just
saying.
saying. Just saying. Just saying. She's gorgeous.
And that, and she was an athlete from the University of Tennessee. Guess why the
Nice.
WWE went and got her? They saw an athlete, a track star who's like a power lifter, and they go, "Yep, yep, that's a good looking person right there. We
She
want
might.
her,
Yep.
and we're gonna take her." And
Nice.
that's what Angel Reese is right now. Angel Reese is doing that.
Yep. No, that's pretty awesome. I mean, kind of going down that wrestling rabbit hole too. I mean, I'm watching Deal or No Deal Island on NBC. They
Oh,
have a very attractive woman who is basically almost at the very end of the season. She has a real shot at possibly going for like 10 plus million bucks. And she was in the what is it, like almost like the build up program for WWE as a wrestler. But she dropped out at the probably one of the later stages of that process. But
What's her
name's
name?
Tate.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But she's got the build that she could do it. A little bit skinny, but yeah, she is gorgeous for sure.
If I know who that is,
Yeah,
I'll have to look her up at some point.
exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's that kind of thing where it's like she was I'm pretty sure she was a D1 athlete in college.
Yep.
Then went for WWE. That didn't make the goes and found her way onto reality television.
Because of
Looks. Straight up looks, man. Yeah, absolutely. So give her props, and she's got the right direction going, so it works.
Yeah, there was a so in the WWE rabbit hole, they have like a reality TV show that was called Total Divas. It went on for like 10 seasons or something on MTV or something like that.
Interesting.
But it was a reality show following like 5 to 10 women wrestlers that were known as divas at that time. They don't use that term anymore. But there was a young lady, she was like a fitness model or something.
Yeah.
Ava something, Ava Marie, maybe sounds right.
Okay.
The fans absolutely hated this young lady, but everyone knew it was like, well, I mean, she looks like that and she's super athletic. Okay. We understand why she's on this show and she's on TV. Like, we get it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely works out. Yeah, you like I can see it on Deal or No Deal Island. It makes sense. It is what it is. So yeah, it works out. So yeah, I mean, pretty cool stuff. Yeah, definitely getting excited for the WNBA season to come around and see the women's side of the March Madness bracket. Not hearing too much, not seeing too much there. Haven't caught any real games lately. I mean, there was one I may have caught the back end of. But other than that, I mean, I've seen a few men's games lately and some NBA lately. Shoot, last night I definitely saw the Bucks beat up on the Pacers. That was pretty cool. And what do you know? They're fourth in the East, bud.
Hey, I tried to tell you. Remember, I came on here and I pounded the table when they traded Chris Middleton. I said, it's not about Kyle Kuzma. It's about all the Jericho Sims. Look, now he's a rotational piece.
Yep.
Bobby Portis is going to come back at the end of the season. He's going to be fresh. He's like a free agent pickup, basically.
That is the free agent pickup. Yep.
And then my wife's dad actually came up and he goes, that Kevin Porter guy is basically taking over Chris Middleton. I said, I know, I said that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited about that pickup.
What do you say though that like, I mean, I caught this game not too long ago too though. I caught the game towards the end between the Bucks and the Cavaliers, and that was not a good looking score. How do you think that matchup could really match up if that's like a best of 7 series?
I actually think they match up really well because I think the Bucks are kind of in this like wonky, like, so a couple weeks ago they weren't actually playing Giannis full minutes yet because he was coming off of, remember, he stepped out of the All-Star game.
Sure. Yep.
Lillard can light a fire at any moment and just go off. Like, Kevin Porter's kind of that way too. And I think they might actually move him to play the 2 guard position next to Lillard at some point during. I've seen it a couple times during games. And then matching up size-wise, the Bucks have Bobby Portis, they have Brook Lopez, they have Giannis against Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. Okay, what other team can match size with that team? Maybe Boston with Al Horford and Porzingis.
We also have
Then
Kuzma.
and that's exactly where I was going next. I know they got was it DeAndre Hunter that they brought in from Atlanta? My brain's tweaking. Because they traded Karis LeVert.
Okay.
At the break.
Sure.
But you're gonna have a tough wing. Well, guess what? Kyle Kuzma's 6'8", 6'9", long, athletic, and young. Can run the floor, can shoot the three a little bit, goes to the rim. Okay, well, we got one of those now. Our wing isn't going to be just Torian Prince and Chris Middleton, two over 30 guys that kind of just shoot jump shots, like.
Right.
And then, like I said, that two guard, yeah, they have Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Well, we have Lillard, who's going to play mostly the whole game in the playoffs. So that one of those guard positions is locked up. Well, now you can rotate in Prince. You can rotate in Gary Trent Jr., AJ Green, Kevin Porter Jr. Whoever's on fire can fill in that 2 to 3 spot. And you're like, oh, well, guess what? We got two shooters in Prince and AJ Green. We got ball handlers in Gary Trent can move both, play a little defense. Kevin Porter can handle the ball. Kyle Kuzma can do his thing. That's a good matchup now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I could definitely see that kind of playing into place. I mean, just kind of seeing how the Bucks have kind of changed since that trade deal. You got guys coming back from injury. They're sitting at basically a 580 win percentage. I mean, you and I pointed this out a while back that we thought Milwaukee would be somewhere around a 600 win percentage. It's not going to take that much more to get to that. I mean, that's probably around 50-ish wins. I just kind of seeing how things play out. I mean, it kind of feels like a stock. It feels like Milwaukee is probably going to go on a more serious. I mean, I don't know what the schedule is, but it feels like they would have that ability to go on a more serious run going into the postseason and within the postseason. I mean, they look like one of those teams that's made a real nice jump since the trade deadline, obviously, along with Golden State.
The fifth seed is Indy now, right?
Yeah, they're right below us.
And then we're 2 games behind New York. Am I thinking that right?
4 games.
4 games. Okay. So like, I never actually expected us to catch New York or Cleveland and Boston are too far ahead. So like, I'm okay with them having that 1 or 2 seed. I get it, but like, as a 4 seed, we get to play at home against Indy. Giannis has probably circled every Indy game in the history of life.
Oh yeah, you don't like
once
them.
They tried to take the ball from him and all.
Even last night, that hard foul was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't grab a guy by the bicep as he's going up.
And like, I'm sure Giannis is always like, man, I'm here to destroy Indy.
Just crush them. Just absolutely destroy them. Absolutely destroy them, man.
I'm totally fine with seeing them in the first round and then gearing up to play a Cleveland or a Boston in that second round. Like, I don't have any fear of that.
No,
I honestly don't think we would have lost to Boston originally if Giannis was playing. So
exactly,
I'm good.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Yeah, I mean, Boston's going to be in a real trial of tribulations come this postseason because they managed to get through against Cleveland last year too when Cleveland was banged up. They're going to go up against a healthy Milwaukee and a healthy Cleveland at some point. So that's some big time size there that they're going to have to deal with going down the stretch. I mean, and I know like we beat up against them too, but I mean, I still like the way that Indianapolis plays. I'm looking at the standings here. I think it's pretty cool to see Detroit is in the mix with us and Indy. Yeah, I mean, shoot, I know you wanted to write them off a year ago, but man, I love seeing Detroit come back now. That's cool.
Well,
man. I like seeing Cade
I
Cunningham
wrote them off a year
Ivey.
ago, but I was excited when they got Tobias Harris and they got my boy Malik Beasley. So
nice. That's good.
They added some pieces around, their star guys, and it was kind of one of those things where you're like, is Detroit going to be okay? And then you kind of saw some of these other teams, like Atlanta just gave away everyone. If you're not Trae Young, which I'm assuming he's gone to at some point, maybe in the offseason, LaMelo got hurt in Charlotte. Like the Magic they got hurt with a lot of players at the beginning. So it was like, well, who's going to step up? And it looked like Detroit.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, yeah, they're going to be tight with us and Indy, but I do see, especially going down the stretch, I think Milwaukee is going to pull away, and you really wonder too, like how hard Thibodeau plays his guys in New York. Is that going to catch up to them as well? I honestly, I mean, if I had to bet, I would bet that Milwaukee probably ends the season actually as the 3 and not the 4.
If they get
I really
3,
see that happening.
Ooh, watch out.
Yeah.
If they get 3, watch out.
Yeah, I could really see them getting the 3, and I'd love to see them then go toe to toe, like you pointed out, against Boston, and then go for that Eastern Championship probably against Cleveland. And again too, I mean, they match up well against Boston. I think they match up really well now against Boston, and Cleveland is going to have a little more size, but they don't have that true size Milwaukee has. And Milwaukee added size and speed now. If you have both, then you become the 2024 UConn Huskies men's basketball team. Like that's what you do. And I mean, with you and I watching college right now, we're not watching too much college, but when we're seeing the Florida Gators play, they got that. They got size, they got speed, they got handles. When you make those things happen, you really can't be stopped.
Right. And like I'll transition that to the other team that I thought that got a steal at the deadline, and it was kind of laughed off, but Golden State, where they got Jimmy Butler, and they basically didn't give away anything except Wiggins. Like they kept their young guys, and Kuminga,
they didn't get rid of Podzinski.
Right. Kuminga just came back and he's ready to like fly. That was like a late addition, almost like a trade deadline pickup, because comes back from injury. Now he's fitting in with Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
And they're on a tear. I mean,
oh yeah, you put them against Denver right now. I'm taking Golden State.
Yeah,
I think Denver
I'm almost taking Golden State against anyone.
Yeah, Golden State against anyone. I mean, so well coached, has the depth. They know how to make things work. I mean, they're basically, between their players and the coaching staff, they're basically the Kansas City Chiefs of the NBA. They really are.
You know what was crazy? The other day, Steph hit his 3,000th 3 or something like that. Which, by the way, no one in like the history of the game is even close to that. Wow. I think like James Harden was number 2, and he's at like 23 or 400. I'm like,
yeah, he'll never be.
You're not catching him.
Yeah, because he's almost about the same age as Steph Curry as well.
Yeah, and the craziest part about that game, the leading scorer. Now, this is nuts. Was Draymond Green. He had over 20 that game. And I was like, wait, what? And they blew out whoever they played. And I'm just sitting there looking at the screen like, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess
shows you the fact that he's running the floor. He's got his thing. Good for him, man.
And that's the thing about Golden State, and that's why I think they can hang with anyone, is like, what was Golden State missing when they got rid of Clay? A defender, a dog. Well, Jimmy Butler's that. Yeah, but Jimmy Butler's also a slasher. And that worked for a long time with Golden State, of having all those shooters, and, Draymond could kind of run the show. But they needed a guy that could just go to the rim and get a bucket, a mid-range guy. And that's Jimmy Butler's like MO. Now you got to stop the mid-range, and you have to stop the 3 behind him with Steph. And it's like, oh, well, guess what? Their big isn't really looking to score. He's trying to get everybody open. If you got a Kayvon Looney or whoever, center-wise, I can't even think of their center rotation. But, those guys are just getting these shooters open.
Yeah, it's why, I know OKC's got Chet Holmgren. They got 12 losses. But, again, too, we go back to the NBA Cup. They did not match up well against Milwaukee. I do wonder now too, is OKC just kind of like one of those teams just kind of matching up well against team to team? I know it's the entire conference, but we'll see, man. I mean, I'll be honest, I caught a little bit of Houston the other night. I mean, Ime Udoka, the work he's doing down there, the way they're building that roster, man.
Yeah.
Houston is like they were dead. They were dead basically at the moment that Ime Udoka showed up. The fact that they've risen all the way up to the number 2 seed is phenomenal. Basically, it's OKC at 1, and then everyone else from 2 through essentially
8,
8.
9. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say 8 just to make it easy. Maybe even 6 if you really want to cut it off at Golden State. They're basically all tied for like second place.
Yeah. Yep.
So
except the only team that I got to drop out of there, and people are going to hate it, is the Lakers, because LeBron going down, every team should play them exactly like they should have played Dallas, exactly the same way the Bucks played them.
Yeah.
Let Luka just do whatever he wants, have a big game. Nobody else scored, and the Bucks won by 20. But all you heard about was, oh, Luka's almost got 50, and it's like they're losing by 20. Who cares how much Luka's got?
Yeah.
How about anybody else score a bucket?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a thing with the Lakers. I mean, Austin Reeves is nice, but is Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic going to crush you? I don't think so. I think you're spot on with that. Yeah. I mean, and that was the thing too, is like they made sure to deal with Luka and Kyrie, and it worked. Like they don't have more than just those 2 guys, and LA is kind of falling into that trap as well. It's not really a thing against Luka, but it's more of a thing of like, this is how team roster construction works. And it is why Boston, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Denver, OKC, it's why they're really, really good teams, is because they have many different guys that can score. Phoenix to me is the one thing that I can't understand, because I like their 3 guys they got up top. I just don't get how they can't win more games. To me, it doesn't make any sense.
I am so confused by Phoenix. I mean, yeah, I understand the 3 guys that they got, though, all in a sense play the same position. Yeah, you can put on the stat sheet, oh, Devin Booker's our point guard now. He's a scorer. That's what he does.
Yeah, he's a forward, to be honest.
I would say he's more of a shooting guard, but like he's a wing guy. Like he's just going to score. Yeah, no matter what position you put him, what height you want to call him, they're just trying to score. They don't try to get anybody open. They're like, oh, ball's mine. I'm going for 70. Like, Bradley Beal, he led the league in scoring like a handful of years ago at like 30 a game when he played for Washington.
Right.
That's what he does. Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers in the history of the game. That's what he does. So you can't have 3 guys going, well, oh, it's your turn. All right, cool.
Right.
Oh, it's your turn. Okay. My turn. All right. Like, it's not how it works. It's not how basketball works.
So is it almost like they're almost like -2 players, because you got those three guys who are, to be honest, they're more of shooting guards and not really point guards. Then because to me, I think the guy who actually would be probably running the point, and again, I haven't watched Phoenix games hardly ever, I would guess actually that the point guard is probably Grayson Allen. Is that true?
No, he just sits in the corner and waits for threes. Like if I'm not mistaken, it's Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, and Bradley Beal are on the wings. Kevin Durant is almost like a de facto power forward because of height. And then
because Booker can't run the point.
Who's the center off the top of my head? Is it Nurkic?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought he got traded, or am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah, right. Like my brain is like, man, why am I getting all these trades just mixed? Like trades happen with the trade deadline, the WNBA, the NFL. Like my brain is like, I can't remember every trade.
I know.
And the MLB has just started, and I'm getting like Brewers moves, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, man, I wish like we had like some cool MLB preseason stuff like we did the World Baseball Classic a year ago. That was awesome. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, Yeah, it is what it is with Phoenix on that. But hey, I mean, speaking of movement and whatnot, this is probably our first show after the massive wave of guys for free agency in the NFL. But I'll be honest, man, like there isn't
Oh.
really too much of it that to me is jaw dropping. I mean,
Mhm.
like I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but to me, maybe the best plays that I think that were made were probably Chicago on the offensive line and Denver on the defensive side. And I can't really name the players that are involved with either of those teams. But I know those are the two teams that have really made the biggest movements. All the other offensive players that have moved around to different teams, I just don't think are that good.
Right. Mason, what's the guy's
Yeah,
name?
Mason Rudolph went back to Pittsburgh. Great.
No,
Great.
the running back from San Francisco.
Jordan
He was a
Mason?
famous. Yeah, he just went to. Oh boy. Again,
Uh-oh.
trades are just mixed up in my head. He just got traded somewhere for like a 6th round pick, and I'm like, that's where we're at
Whoa.
now. Like
Well,
that's
yeah, I mean, wow, like you're really throwing him out to the Wolves at that point. And not only that, I mean, they're gonna go through this
Minnesota,
whole ooh. Well, I know.
maybe.
Man,
I don't know.
Him and Aaron Jones, that would be pretty baller. And I know there's talks that maybe Devontae goes there, but man, like I really wonder then, like what they have to hit it out of the park on running back, which they've been kind of hit and miss on drafting. Because also they're going to play this whole season without Isaac Guerendo, who I think is the one they wanted to be the heir apparent to Christian McCaffrey. Jordan Mason's
Right.
good, but man, I'm telling you, man. And granted, I saw the game where Mason busts his collarbone and Guerendo just tears it up, and I start Mason for fantasy, so I get a real nice goose egg. But like, man, I'm telling you, like San Francisco, they got to get something right at running back. If you lose Mason, I would not want to go into the season without Mason. I'd rather
Yeah.
like draft two other running backs, see which one sticks, maybe make a movement after that. But I would not want to not have Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerendo and only Christian McCaffrey. You might have zero, and you have no Debo Samuel as well.
Yeah. Maybe move Brandon Ayuk at this point.
Oh
George
yeah,
Kittle's
it's
old.
toxic. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was bouncing ideas on a buddy about Seattle, and I'm like, you guys are kind of like middle of the pack. I mean, you're not as good as the Rams. If San Francisco brings all their guys back, you're not as good as the. Then all of a sudden, like all the San Francisco guys were gone, and I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing here. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Seattle. Oh, you just got Sam Darnold. Why?
I'm
Well,
telling you, man, look at Seattle, like the movements they've made and who they've brought in. I don't think it's that great. I
yeah, I don't
really don't.
understand it.
It feels like almost everything basically is a lateral to slightly worse move than what it
Yeah,
was last season. I mean,
and like
I'll be honest, I'd rather roll with Sam Howell than Sam Darnold because I know Howell is going to at least like he's going to
sling
sling
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's not going to panic. Like I
No.
hate seeing guys like Gardner Minshew, Sam Darnold, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Like seeing these guys panic. Like you can't, and Derek Carr. Like you cannot panic. Ironically, these are all Raiders, basically. But like you cannot like have opportunity strike, and you just all of a sudden forget how to make progressions. Like stuff like that is really disheartening. And I mean, all of these moves that Seattle made, they are coached by a defensive head coach. I don't think Seattle is that good. I mean, I thought they were kind of
No.
getting close last year, but if you move off of Geno Smith, it needs to be a home run or Sam Howell, and it might not be. Like none of that stuff might be true, but you have to make those moves to keep moving in what you think is the right direction. I just absolutely don't like the way that team is going. The Rams, they got my guy Devontae Adams. I like that, but I mean, they do have the benefit that they have pretty much their ability to put all their money on offense
Yeah.
because they've hit it out of the park defensively with those, especially those Florida State guys in last year's draft. Yeah, I mean the Rams are incredibly well coached. Sean McVay is right in there for the top 5 coaching in the NFL. But that said, man, I have a hard time moving off of San Francisco. I mean, to me, I think they have to absolutely hit like basically garbage in the draft in order for me to move off that team. I gotta see what's out there. I gotta see how this all plays out with them and the Rams. But I think honestly, that division is between them and the Rams.
Yeah.
Even though we have nothing else to go off of.
Yep, and that's exactly how I feel. Like I was telling people, like Seattle should just up and rebuild, and then all of a sudden they traded away DK, and I'm like, oh hey look, they're doing it. All right, Tyler Lockett's out of here, DK's out of here. Just get rid of everybody. Geno Smith leaves, and then they're like, yeah, but we got Sam Darnold. What? No. Why are you getting Sam Darnold? Go find a quarterback in the draft. I know we talked about Dart and like guys like that. What's the gentleman Texas?
Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers. Put Quinn Ewers out there.
Yes.
Light it up. But instead, they're like, yeah, we're gonna put a Band-Aid on it, and we're gonna hope Cooper Kupp. Come on, dude. Get in here. It's like, what are you doing? You could have literally just brought back Tyler Lockett, who knows the system, knows the city, knows the coaching, knows the team, for like a minimum, and we would have been like, okay, we get it.
But losing DK to me is not a good move, man. Like you're bringing in a new quarterback, you stripped him of a big time, big bodied wide receiver. I like Jackson Smith and Jigba, but like let him develop. And not only that, too, you stripped him of a quarterback that he was familiar with. And now we're going into a totally new coordinator, totally new quarterback. I think they're just setting themselves up for disaster. I mean, I like Jackson Smith and Jigba a lot. I've played with him in fantasy. I like what I see. But he's a guy to me that, like, I think he's going into year 2 or 3 now. But he's a guy that, like, you can't have all the attention on him. To me, like, it's basically like Dallas and CeeDee Lamb. If the only guy is the slot receiver, fine, we can deal with that.
Yeah, and that's why I thought they were just going to go total rebuild. You bring in a new quarterback that's young. JSN is young. Let those guys build up together. Now you got yourself a team, got some chemistry in the next couple of years. No, they just started putting Band-Aids everywhere. And it's like, well, if you're going to do that, why didn't you just keep DK and Gio? Like, might as well just keep the guys you got.
Absolutely.
And then add little pieces around it. But instead it was like, oh man, panic. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Like,
I know.
And there's so many teams out there that I'm just watching them hit the panic button. And it's like, well, I thought you were in a rebuild. You're not in a rebuild? What are you doing over there? Okay, cool. We're just adding players to add players now. Like, you can't be in an arms race with a team that's already better than you and has more money than you and is doing what they're supposed to be doing and try to catch up in 1 year.
Yeah.
I saw a statistic that the team in the offseason with the most money usually doesn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's true. And I'll be honest, too. I mean, like, even from my standpoint as a Raider, I just feel like all this money that we had really didn't do much in this free agency. I mean, we made some cute moves here and there with certain pieces and certain players, but we, like, for all of these free agents that were out there, the money to me really did not make that much of a difference. You basically got to use your money to re-sign your guys is kind of what I'm seeing from this.
Yep.
I just feel like this offseason, especially on offense, was like zilch. I think this was the worst offensive NFL free agency that I can remember. I think it was absolutely terrible, except for the offensive line players and the defensive line players between the Broncos and the Bears. Like, that's it, man. Like, I think all of these moves on offense were like pretty bad across the board on like every team.
Oh my gosh, you have to help me understand this. The Green Bay Packers got an offensive lineman. What is it? I don't even remember his name because it blew. He's like a left guard, only plays left guard. We paid 4 years, 77 million. For Pro Football Focus told me that he has an average everything.
Ooh.
How did he get 20 million a year?
Yeah, that's an important side of the football, man. That's like your side of the football, which is kind of the blind side of a
But
Jordan Love.
we had
So,
everybody. We already had that. We drafted a number one offensive lineman last year,
yep.
and he backed up everybody, so he knows how to play everywhere. And we have two like all Pro Bowl types. We got rid of our center. I don't know why we needed a $20 million left guard.
Yeah. To me, it exudes pretty much kind of a panic buy. It's like where you have this money, you don't know what to do with it. You need to go out and spend it. It's like you got something that you just need, that's burning a hole in your pocket, and you need to spend. I mean, granted, I've gone in on some stocks from investing that have been in the green, and then you make that move and they go red, and they go red hard, and
Oh
you
no!
eat it. Yeah,
Well,
I've been there. So it
break
is what it
break
is.
break this one down for me before we head out.
Yep.
You as a Raider, who is this Hobbs guy? This corner that we just. I mean,
Yeah,
you might not even know him very well because he's always hurt. So,
but he's played, like, the games that he's played, like, he is really good. I mean, I know last season he was hurt more. To be honest, all the guys in our secondary are pretty good, to be honest. So moving off of Hobbs, I didn't really see a difference. I like him though. I mean, he's a guy that I wish we would have re-signed. I do like Nate Hobbs a lot. I think he's a great corner when he's out there. I don't really remember him missing too much time. I think also he was the guy that got pulled over for a DUI within that Vegas airport, and luckily didn't get a real DUI. But he's good, man.
Great.
He's yeah.
So he's a problem who's never played an entire season.
Could be.
And here's the kicker. He only plays in the slot.
Oh, he's a slot? Dang, I thought he was outside. Okay.
And on top of that, we've already got a slot corner. And we're
You're
losing.
still on the team?
We're losing our all-pro in Jair, who plays the outside. And we got a slot guy who, by the way, we also have safeties that move up and play the slot.
Yeah, you do.
Make this make sense to me, Metrics.
Yeah, I can't. I can just tell you, just from the games I've seen the guy turn around. I've seen the name on his back. I'm like, all right, that guy made a nice play.
So not only did we picked up a slot guy that we didn't need, we picked up a left guard who we also didn't need, and we spent like $30 million a year on these two guys. I just don't understand.
Yeah, that kind of makes me wonder too. I mean, I'll be honest. I know a lot of people love it. I don't personally. Was there more, like, there had to be stuff going on behind the scenes, man? But I'm shocked Davante Adams didn't go back to Green Bay, unless he does maybe after 2 years from now. He might.
So the insider, I guess I'll drop his name, Jason Wilde.
Sure.
He has a radio show here in the morning, Wilde and Tausch, and he literally said the Packers did not actually talk to Seattle for DK Metcalf, and they did not talk to Davante, who was open to a return.
So DK, I was hearing from a few people that there was a deal in place.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true. Maybe not.
This insider, he dropped the hammer and said they didn't talk to either one of them.
So that was smoke. None of that was real.
And the deal that they actually had on the table was for Cooper Kupp, but he ended up going to Seattle.
Seattle. Okay.
So.
All right.
Yep. This is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I am shocked that Green Bay has not made any moves for wide receiver. Green Bay definitely should have gone for someone, because, I mean, again, too, you had 5, which is not normal, and now it's easily dropping to 3. that could drop to 2. I mean, you like these things move. I know there's a draft. Who knows what happens? But like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that none of those 3 landed in Green Bay.
There was 3 positions of need in Green Bay when the offseason started. We said this is where we're going for. Jair's probably out of here. Okay, corner, got it. Don't need a slot. We need an outside guy. Cool.
Right.
We need a wide receiver, a number 1, because we have a ton of 2s and 3s and 4s. We need a number 1, and Christian Watson's hurt for who knows when.
Yeah.
So we need a number 1 guy. And we needed edge rushers because everybody needs an edge rusher.
Yep.
And we didn't get any of those.
Yeah. Myles Garrett would have been in good play. I was hearing people kick that around.
Yep.
The one name that's out there that I kind of like, and someone listed off a bunch of wide receivers, and I was like, man, this one I actually really, really like. Keenan Allen.
But is he an outside guy anymore?
No, he's slot. He's exclusively slot.
We got Jaden Reed. We don't need that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
We got Romeo Dobbs. We got Bo Mixon. But
I mean, actually the one guy that I do like outside.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, the one guy that I like that's outside that actually has a lot of size, big guy. I don't think he deserves a crazy contract, but I mean, if you got $15 million per season, I'd throw it at this guy. Nick Westbrook-Akine. That guy I'd give a shot to.
I mean, I don't know if we can anymore. We gave $20 million to a lineman and 15, 12, whatever to a corner who we don't need. So,
yep.
I mean, we re-signed a kicker. We needed that. I mean, that's solid.
You need him. I get it. But, yeah, I think you need someone like legit big outside. Nick Westbrook-Akine is definitely that guy.
I mean, we even got rid of the mayor of Door County, A.J. Dillon. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe I could be wrong. Maybe we're just going to 12 personnel and we're just gonna run the 2 tight end set and we're just gonna throw it to tight ends. We're gonna be New England 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Luke Musgrave kind of coming out of the draft. Got a little banged up, but man, I'm not really ready to commit to that. Did you guys sign a tight end or something?
No, what's the other guy's name? He's a stud.
Oh yeah, the one from Iowa. That guy is nuts.
Tucker Kraft
is nuts. Yeah, he is. He's a bona fide tight end.
Maybe we're just gonna go to 12. Yeah,
maybe.
Whatever. Maybe. Give it to. Let's play 1992 football, and we're going to play West Coast. We're going to set up 2 tight ends. We're just going to hand the ball off 30 times a game. We're going to throw it only when we need to. We don't even need a receiver. Just don't even sign any more receivers.
Well, that makes me feel better about my future NFC North divisional champion pick. But that's for another show.
We're definitely probably not winning winning the division. Whatever. I mean, at least we're not Minnesota, right?
Yeah. And my little gripe there, too. I am shocked that they moved so quick off of Daniel Jones. I thought Daniel Jones would have actually been in a real nice position to succeed. He is going to bet on himself in Indianapolis. I get it. He can probably win that. But man, to really get scared off by JJ McCarthy, both him and Sam Darnold got scared off by a guy coming off a torn ACL. That tells you something in that guy.
Might as well just bring in Aaron Rodgers and win the whole division, win the Super Bowl. I don't know. Go to the NFC Champion. Just be Brett Favre 2.0.
Brett Favre 2.0, man. Aaron Rodgers is going to show up to Minnesota where the purple and gold, and he is Brett Favre 2.0.
Bounty Gate. Someone hit him with Bounty Gate. There we go.
Bounty Gate. That's debate. That's a lot of debate right there. But between you and I, that is no debate, and that's a show. So I'm Steve Metrics. That's your boy. He's a little upset,
heartbroken. DJ Triggs.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah,
and that's no debate.